The customer in the pickup truck wasn't moving. Dr. Sarah Park noticed it immediately from her manager's station at the McDonald's drive-thru window in Memphis, Tennessee. The way his hands went to his throat, the universal choking sign, the panic in his eyes as he tried to signal for help but couldn't make a sound. The car behind him was honking, impatient. Her teenage crew members were frozen, uncertain. Most fast food managers would have called 911 and hoped the ambulance arrived in time. But before Sarah had spent 2 years managing the evening shift at this McDonald's, she'd spent 12 years as an ER trauma surgeon at Memphis Regional Medical Center, one of the busiest Level 1 trauma centers in the South. She'd performed thousands of emergency procedures, saved hundreds of lives in the critical minutes before patients could reach an operating room, and been trained to make life or death decisions in seconds. The man in the truck had maybe 90 seconds before he lost consciousness. EMTs were at least 6 minutes away. Sarah was already moving, her surgical training overriding everything else, because some skills don't care what uniform you're wearing. They just activate when someone's dying in front of you. Dr. Sarah Park, 39, had been a McDonald's manager since 2022. After burning out from 12 years of trauma surgery, the constant death, the impossible decisions, the 20-hour shifts that destroyed her marriage and her health, she'd walked away from medicine completely. She needed something simple, structured, low stakes. Fast food management was perfect. Predictable hours, clear procedures, problems that didn't involve people dying. She could go home at night without carrying the weight of lives lost. Her application listed healthcare management, 2008 to 2020, and restaurant experience from her college years. The franchise owner appreciated her maturity and organizational skills, but never asked what kind of health care or why she'd left. Sarah seemed like a responsible hire for a position managing teenage employees during evening rush hours. What they didn't know was that Dr. Sarah Park had been one of Memphis Regional's top trauma surgeons, that she'd worked gunshot wounds, car accidents, and medical emergencies that would have overwhelmed most doctors, that her hands had performed procedures most people only see on TV medical dramas. Tuesday evening, 6:47 p.m. The dinner rush was heavy, drive-thru line wrapped around the building, lobby full, every station running at capacity. Sarah was coordinating orders, coaching new employees, keeping everything moving with the practiced efficiency of someone who'd once coordinated trauma teams. That's when she saw him, through the drive-thru window. The man in the blue pickup truck, maybe 45, had just received his order. But instead of driving forward, he'd stopped. His hands went to his throat. The universal choking sign, hands clasped around neck, mouth open, unable to speak or breathe. Sarah's 12 years of medical training activated instantly. She was already moving before her conscious brain fully processed what was happening. "Marcus, take over," she shouted to her assistant manager, already pushing through the drive-thru window station toward the side exit. She reached the truck within seconds. The man's face was turning purple. His eyes showed pure terror. He was trying to cough, but nothing was coming out. Complete airway obstruction. "Sir, I'm a doctor. I'm going to help you. Nod if you can hear me." He nodded, panic evident. Sarah assessed in 2 seconds. Conscious but unable to breathe. Complete obstruction. Needs immediate intervention. She opened the truck door. "I need you to lean forward and put your hands on the steering wheel." She positioned herself behind him, wrapping her arms around his abdomen. Heimlich maneuver. She'd performed it dozens of times in the ER, taught it in medical school courses, practiced it until it was muscle memory. First, abdominal thrust. Nothing. The man was weakening already, his body starting to go limp. Second thrust. Still nothing. She could feel his diaphragm, knew exactly where to position her hands for maximum force. Third thrust. Harder this time, using her full body weight. A piece of hamburger shot out of his mouth, followed by a massive, gasping breath. The man collapsed forward against his steering wheel, breathing in huge, desperate gulps of air. Sarah kept her hands on him, monitoring, making sure his airway stayed clear, watching for secondary complications. "You're okay." Keep breathing. Slow, steady breaths. Within 2 minutes, his color returned. His breathing normalized. He turned to look at Sarah, tears streaming down his face. You saved my life. I couldn't breathe. I thought, you're fine now," Sarah said calmly, her ER voice automatic. "But I need you to pull into a parking space. You shouldn't drive yet, and we're calling an ambulance to check you out." By now, a crowd had gathered. Drive-thru customers, lobby diners, her entire crew watching through windows. Someone had recorded it on their phone. Sarah walked the man to a parking space, stayed with him, kept monitoring his vitals, using nothing but observation and touch, pulse check, breathing rate, skin color, pupil response. All the assessments she'd done thousands of times without equipment. EMTs arrived within 8 minutes. Sarah gave them a clinical handover that made them pause mid-assessment. 47-year-old male, complete airway obstruction approximately 4 minutes ago. Foreign body removed via Heimlich maneuver after 3 abdominal thrusts. Airway now patent. Breathing normalized. No signs of aspiration or secondary complications. Alert and oriented ×4. Vitals stable. The lead paramedic stared at her. "Ma'am, are you medical?" "Was. Trauma surgeon. Memphis Regional. 12 years. The paramedic's expression changed immediately. "You're Dr. Park?" "Sarah Park? I've brought patients to you. You operated on my partner after he was shot 3 years ago." Sarah nodded. "I remember. He made a full recovery." "Dr. Park, what are you doing managing a McDonald's?" "Taking a break from medicine." "Turns out you can't really take a break from being a doctor." The man Sarah saved, whose name was Robert Mitchell, refused transport. The EMTs confirmed he was stable, gave him discharge instructions, and left. But Robert stayed, sitting in his truck in the McDonald's parking lot for another 20 minutes. Finally, he came inside. Found Sarah coordinating the dinner rush like nothing had happened. "Miss, Doctor, I don't know what to call you." "Sarah's fine." "Sarah, I have 3 kids, 2 grandkids. I was driving home to have dinner with my wife. If you hadn't been here," his voice broke. "Why are you working at McDonald's?" "You're a surgeon." Sarah's answer was honest. "I burned out. 12 years of trauma surgery, watching people die, making impossible decisions. I needed to do something where people don't die, where I can go home at night without carrying all that weight." "But you still saved me?" "That's different. That was just reflex. When someone's choking in front of you and you know how to fix it, you just do." The story went viral within hours. The cell phone video showed everything. Sarah moving with surgical precision, performing the Heimlich with textbook technique, her calm, professional demeanor. Local news picked it up. McDonald's manager saves choking customer, former trauma surgeon. Memphis Regional Medical Center called. "Dr. Park, We'd love to have you back. Your privileges are still active. Sarah declined. I left medicine for good reasons. Those reasons haven't changed. But she did agree to one thing: training all her McDonald's staff in basic life-saving techniques. Within a month, every employee at her location knew CPR, heimlich maneuver, and how to recognize medical emergencies. Robert Mitchell visited every week after that, always ordered the same thing, always stopped to thank Sarah. He brought his wife, his kids, his grandkids. This is the woman who saved Grandpa's life, he'd tell them. Sarah Park still manages the evening shift at McDonald's, still coordinates orders, still trains teenage employees, still keeps everything running smoothly. The difference is that now her crew knows their manager isn't just good at making schedules. She's someone who spent 12 years saving lives in one of the country's toughest trauma centers. Do you ever miss it? One of her young employees asked her. Being a surgeon? Sarah thought about it honestly. I miss helping people, but I don't miss the pace, the pressure, the impossible choices. Here, I help people in a different way. Giving someone their first job, teaching them responsibility, keeping them safe. And occasionally, she smiled, saving someone who's choking on a hamburger. Sometimes the person taking your order has performed surgery that saved dozens of lives. Sometimes the most skilled hands in medicine belong to someone flipping burgers and managing teenagers. And sometimes choosing to leave a high-pressure career doesn't mean leaving your skills behind. It means carrying them quietly until someone desperately needs them. Have you ever realized someone in food service had medical training that saved a life? Share their story. Because expertise doesn't retire when you change careers. It stays ready for the moment someone needs it. If this story reminded you that heroes work everywhere, subscribe to Life Stories Archive. Every quiet professional deserves recognition for staying ready to help.